Okay, everyone, this is exercise 3, and we're going to go over the answers like we did on the exercise 2. So we're going to start with the first sentence. It says, right now, Pam O'Neill is taking a test, but she does not know it. Now, we see the word right now, so I know that this is happening at the moment. We use simple present here. She does not know it because we don't use know in the progressive form. But the other next sentence, this is still right now. So she is focusing on what she is writing and not on how her handwriting looks. So is focusing, is writing, is talking also about right now. And then the next part says the person who will analyze that test is a graphologist, someone who studies handwriting. And this is a fact. Someone who studies handwriting is a graphologist. So we're going to use present tense. Next sentence, graphologists. Notice the S here. So no S on the verb. Graphologists believe. And believe is also a word we don't use in progressive form. So we're going to leave it in the simple form. And again, no S because we have the S on the noun. Graphologists believe that a person's handwriting gives an indication of his or her personality and character. Handwriting is the subject. Handwriting is singular, so the verb has the S on it to show that it's a singular verb. Again, this is a fact. These days is used for progressive, so these days a number of businesses, plural, so we use are using. So this is progressive. So these days, a number of businesses are using graphologists. This is temporary. Handwriting sometimes tells you it's a routine. Handwriting sometime, and this should say convinces because handwriting is singular. So it should say handwriting sometimes convinces employers to hire one job applicant over another. Okay, so the next sentence says, what exactly, this is a question. So what exactly, I have to find my subject. My subject is graphologist Pete Perry Vance. That's one person. So I need to use a singular here. So I can say, what exactly does company graphologist Perry Very hope? Or I can say, what exactly is company graphologist Perry Vance hoping? They both work in this situation. His answer, it's quotation here, so this is his answer. He says, I always, tells you routine, so this should be simple form. I always look for clues. He's still talking. He says, for example, the slant. And he's just saying in a typical routine, this is true. So the slant of the writing actually tells a lot. Again, next is a question. So when we begin a question, we have to look at the subject. The subject is singular, so we're going to use does, ES. So does the writing lean to the left or to the right? No S on the verb, the S is here. A left slant, again, often tells me it's routine. So a left slant indicates, because slant is singular, we put an S on the verb. So continuing, he says the position of the sample on the page is also important. Again, quotation shows you he's talking. The right-hand margin of the page represents, okay, so this is all just fact, and margin is your subject. It's singular, so we put an S on the verb. And then he goes on to say, here's a writing sample from an executive who, right now, so there's tells me it's progressive, so right now is planning a new direction for the company. Notice that this person does not leave much room. This is how we write it negative. And this is someone who does not avoid. Again, how we write it, negative. What about signatures, I asked? Yes. Okay, so he's answering the question. Yes, signatures. S. No S on the verb. Signatures show us a lot about someone. Again, these are not things that are happening. These are things that are true. They're fact. So we use a simple form. So going down to the next part, he says, look at this one by a chief executive officer of a large firm. He is on the news a lot these days. So these days tells me progressive, and the reason he's on the news is the federal government is investigating his company. So these days is telling me progressive. I'm not going to use progressive here because he is on the news. I wouldn't say he is being on the news. We don't put this into a progressive form, but we do put this one in progressive. So those very large strokes are typical. Typical is the same meaning as usual. So again, a routine of a person who thinks. Person is singular, so we need S. And takes, it's still talking about person. The word and, we're joining to the verbs. So thinks and takes. And Vince, always, again, that word always tells you it's simple present. Always warns. So simple present here and simple present here, that his analysis doesn't guarantee. And we're going to use does because analysis is singular. I know on this one it was a lot harder. When we do our test in class, it will be more like exercise 2, not like exercise 3. This one was a little bit harder. Okay, that's it.